Anyone who watched even a few minutes of the Billboard Music Awards last night may have had a similar response to my own. While the music was entertaining and the awards well deserved, I couldn't help but ask why. Why, in an industry where young men are celebrated for their innocence and boyish charm, do we ask our leading ladies to constantly push the boundaries of suggestibility and sexuality? From Beyoncé's barely there outfits to Rihanna's chains and whips, aren't we trivialising the talent that these young ladies bring to the table? Joining us now to discuss this strange dichotomy is renowned clinical psychologist Dr. Golland. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Martin.
Why is there this apparent gender difference between what we see as the kind of purity and innocence of someone like Justin Bieber, and yet so many female artists expected to be much more suggestive in their appearance and performance?
Well, it's interesting. I actually think the question we should be looking at is, why is it so threatening for women, these are grown women, to be in control of their sexuality? You know, I think what we're looking at when we compare Rihanna to Justin Bieber are really apples and oranges, Martin.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, what we know historically has happened within the industry is that you have the Britney Spears, you have the Miley Cyruses, who come up through the sort of machine of Disney or of these other big corporations, and their whole image is based on this purity, you know, the purity rings and all of that sort of stuff, which, by the way, the Jonas Brothers don't have anymore. And I think what really is, to me, troubling is that we really have a hard time letting women be sexual and in control of their sexuality. It's very scary to the culture.
But what about the young children, daughters like my own, girls like my own, who are tweens and teens? I mean, is this really a good example for them?
Well, you know, I think what
I understand your view as adults. I get that, and that's absolutely right and empowering and not an issue. But what about the fact that many of these performers are directly appealing to very young girls?
Well, you know, I actually think it's very different. I don't think they're necessarily appealing to the very young tween girls. I mean, I think that we as parents have to be responsible to, you know, be the ones to hide certain media that we think is too sexually explicit for our daughters or our sons, and then, you know, wake up to the reality that, you know, when these performers become 18, we saw it with Miley Cyrus, they want to start to express themselves in different ways. And so I think it's also about teaching our children, you know, that there are different ways to express oneself, and to be able to even have the discussions around sexuality and sexiness and all of that.
So how do you think I should have explained Rihanna's song S&M to my 15-year-old daughter last night?
Well, I would think that probably at 15, you don't need to explain, hopefully, too much. I mean, I'm assuming you've already had...
S&M?
Well, but I mean the idea of what sexuality is. I mean, explaining to her that there's different forms of sexuality and that this is one way of expressing, you know, sexual feelings and so forth. But what we have to remember, Martin, is that this is entertainment. These are entertainers. When we look at Lady Gaga and we look at Rihanna and we look at Britney Spears, these people are entertainers. They're not role models. They can be role models in other ways if they want to go and support PETA and support other, you know, gay marriage and stuff like that, which Lady Gaga has done. You know, it all just depends on what we believe is the right role model for our children. When they're up on the stage and they are performing, they are entertainers, and it is about persona and presentation. And I don't care if you're flashing a purity ring or you're flashing a breast, you're still doing a persona.
Dr. Golland, thanks so much for your insight this afternoon. Stay with us.